So thank you. It's wonderful being with you today. And so let's take this time and move into a time of meditation. And so we breathe deeply into this now moment. We embrace that divine feminine which is present in each and every one of us. We embrace it, remembering that that represents the creative, loving nature of our divine selves. And so we breathe into that, allowing and being that expression of love as a representative of all that is holy. And as we sit here together, connected through the marvels of technology, together in one space, heart to heart, we do so in the honor of all that have come together in the past, in the present, and in the future. And we rest into this, knowing that we are divine expressions in this moment as we go into a few moments of silence. And as we begin to come back into this present moment, we do so with open hearts, open minds, and the willingness to learn, the willingness to experience. For we are here for that purpose. For as we learn, as we grow, as we gain understanding, and as we fill our hearts with that divinity that we are and the expression of love that we are, we share that with the world around us. We honor our brothers and sisters. We honor those that we don't know. And we especially honor those that we sometimes have differences with. For when we are in that expression of pure divine love, there are no limitations. There are no ifs, ands, or buts. It just is. And so we're grateful for this time, and we anchor this time in the truth and in the trust that is all that is divine. And so it is. Amen. All right, so we got rid of a little bit of feedback that we had, and I'm trusting that the sound in the room is doing what we need it to do, and that I'm not just speaking to the others on Zoom. So here we are. I do want to say that I trust that y'all have been having a wonder-filled life and sharing that wonder with others since our last gathering. And I'm happy that we have, have this time to be and this time to share a little bit more. So I typically do monthly themes. I do an annual theme and then have monthly focuses. And the focus this month is actually around living with intention. And so when I was asked what the talk title was, what first came to my mind was the things that I heard growing up. And I don't know, I grew up in the Southern Baptist Church. I grew up with traditional family. And I would say, well, I intended to make my bed, or, I was going to do that. And I'm sure none of you ever heard this comeback. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. And so that was one of the first things that popped in my head when I was asked what my talk title would be, because this was a couple of months ago. And so I thought, okay, well, it's true. We can have a hell consciousness with different intentions. A lot of it depends on what we're doing with those intentions. And in Unity, we kind of use the word intention and affirmation. We exchange those terms quite a bit, and that's okay. The affirmation that I'm using this month with the things that I'm doing in my talks and in my personal thing is I live my life with intention, trusting in divine outcome. And it's like, okay, so I have to have a trust. So that's kind of an action piece for me. And, it's realizing that everything in our world, everything, is created with intention. There's not a thing in existence that there wasn't at some point an intention that started it. I posted a thing on Facebook yesterday because I was sitting and I was going, okay, I need to post something that, it's one of those, here we are ministers, we want to do something inspirational, we want to do something that might cause someone to think. And so what I posted was, intention directs our experience, emotion fuels the process, and action delivers. So that road is paved with good intention. But we have to have the emotion, we have to have that energy, we have to have that excitement within us. Last time I was with you, I talked about being filled with wonder and awe. Well, when we're filled with wonder and awe, that is the kind of energy that seems to cause things to leapfrog. And so we have to have that emotion engaged and the emotion behind our intentions. And then that's great. We get there. So we've got the idea. Okay, this is part of our creative process actually in Unity. So we have the idea. The idea forms into an intention. We bring into it this zeal, this aspect of who we are, this emotion in order to begin to manifest. And then there's something else we have to do. I'm not just going to be able to sit on a cloud and meditate myself into a heaven state of consciousness or meditate myself into an experience or a relationship or all of these things. I have to do something. If I want, this was something I used to have people come into my office all the time and say, I really want a relationship. I really want someone to share my life with. Well, what are you doing? Well, I'm affirming it every day. Good. That's good. That gets us started. And I'm feeling what it would feel like to have someone in my life. Good. That's the great. And what else are you doing? Well, that's it. And I'm like, what do you expect them to come just knock on your door? What are you doing about this? So there was all kinds of opportunities, let it be known. Share it with those people that can hold that consciousness with you. I have a tendency, if I know there are some people that tend to be, quote, naysayers, I don't tell them anything because I don't want their negativity in my playpen. I think it's vital that the people that I invite to play in my realm are going to hold the consciousness with me. Many years ago, I had a knee replacement. And I didn't tell the congregation, this was when I was doing full-time church ministry, I didn't tell the congregation till the Sunday before the Tuesday that the surgery was happening. And that Sunday morning I stood up and I said, I want to share with you that I am going to be having surgery on Tuesday. And here's what I want. The next few things that I say, if you can't join me in the consciousness that I am putting forward to you, if you can't join me in my intention, then I'm going to ask you to forget it all. Don't even engage. And I said, so here's my intention. My intention is that I'm going to have this surgery. It's going to happen with ease and grace. I'm going to have a speedy recovery. I'm going to have little to no pain. When I go back into the doctor's office for my first visit after surgery, I want to hear the words come out of his mouth. My desire is that he will say, well, Becky, I have never had anybody that has recovered as well as you have. It's amazing to me. You're way beyond anything that I expected as far as how you're recovering. And I said, if you will hold that intention with me, if you'll put the energy of wholeness, the energy of seeing me trotting up and down the halls here in the ministry and going up and down the steps on the stage with ease and grace and all of that, I said, then join me in that intention. And if not, thank you for your time, but don't even give it a second thought. I believe in being plain spoken. I believe in asking for what I want and being very clear on what I don't. So Do you want to know what happened? I'm going to assume that I'm seeing that their heads are shaking in the room. So I had the surgery on a Tuesday. I actually was at services on Sunday. I didn't speak, but I was there. I saw the physician on Monday. I walked into the physician's office with a cane. When they called my name, I stood straight up and walked back into the treatment room. They're all looking at me like, when did you have surgery? And I said, last Tuesday. Oh. The physician walks in, he looks at my chart, he looks at me, he's been talking out in the hall. He goes, Becky, I've never had anybody recover it like this. I've never had anybody do as well as you're doing. And I just went, I know. And he looked at me like I was crazy, and I said, it's all about intention, and it's all about knowing and holding. And I said, and the whole thing of holding you, that you did the best surgery you've ever done in your life. And it works. It was a huge lesson for that ministry. It was a huge demonstration that we set our intentions. I was paving the road with what I had a desire for. I did it, I fueled it with my words, I fueled it with my heart, with my emotions, and then I took the action of making sure that I was fully prepared physically and mentally for that experience. And it made a difference. You know, Charles Fillmore, in Atom Smashing Power of the Mind, which is one of my favorite Fillmore books, it's probably one of the most challenging to read and make sense out of. Maybe that's why I like it, because it intrigues me. It pushes me to go deeper. But what he said, the affirmation of any good statement of health puts us in conscious contact with the Christ mind universal and quickens the release and releases the energy stored up in the subconscious mind. And the process of rejuvenation begins its work. Right there. He was telling us, he was giving us that formula for how to create our path. You know, the road is paved with our intentions. That's how we start it. We get it going with our intentions. We fuel it with our emotions, and then we take those divine actions to bring it into place. In Christian healing, he went on to say, if we affirm our unity with the life, the substance, and the intelligence of God, we lay hold of these spiritual qualities. And if we affirm the reality of matter and of the physical body, we form a material picture that works itself out in flesh. He didn't mince words. Now, I will be honest with you. I tweak when I'm using one of his quotes. He used he all the time, and I've kind of modernized it so that we're not using that general, cultural he, that it's the we and the us and the our. I think that's also important for us to do, to bring it more into the truth of who we are, to recognize, it's not my job to do everything for someone else. We are personally responsible. And so as we move into this time of having an awakening or an awareness that we are powerful beyond measure, we have the ability to create amazing things and to bring amazing things into reality. And it's being clear. I can be honest with you and say that through my life and the power of intention and the power that I have, I've created some kind of wonky things from time to time. And I own that. What's interesting is I realized probably at about 7 or 8 years old how powerful I was. I laugh, I tell the story, and I laugh about it now because I didn't really I knew what I did, but I didn't understand the basis of it. So even to this day, I do not like making my bed. I just don't like it. It seems like a waste of my time. My time is valuable to me, and it's like, And I don't get the joy out of seeing a made bed as much as I get the joy out of getting up and going and doing whatever I'm going to do. So it's a personal thing, and I don't have a problem with those that like to make their bed. It's great. If somebody wants to make my bed, I'm more power to you. Come do it. It's fine. But as a child, I didn't like it either. And my mother was one of these. And I guess this being Mother's Day, it reminds me of this story somewhat. They used to say, well, you could eat off the floors at her house. Well, that's who my mother was. Everything was spotless. Everything was in its place. And it wasn't that she didn't enjoy living, and it wasn't that I couldn't make a mess. I could, but I was in charge of cleaning up my mess. But so her whole thing was, if you're going to be proper, you make your bed. And I remember one morning, it was summer, and I wanted to go out and play, and it was probably a Saturday morning, and I'm getting excited, and I'm getting ready to go out, and she goes, did you make your bed? And I went, no. She goes, you get back in there and make that bed. So I went into my room, and I'm throwing the sheets up, and throwing the blankets, and doing all this stuff, and I'm just fussing under my breath. I'm like, and I had learned, though, as a child, I dealt with asthma quite a bit. And so I had learned that if I was sick, I didn't have to do some things. I kind of had a clue, but not enough of a clue. And so as I'm throwing everything together and pluffing the pillows and everything, I go, if I were sick, I wouldn't have to make my bed. And I've been thinking about it, I can feel that energy welling up inside of me. I finished making my bed, and I went outside, and I want you to know, the next day I woke up with the measles. I'm like, I remembered saying, if I were sick, I wouldn't have to make my bed. I remembered, and I took responsibility. Even at that young age, it's like, oh, I don't need to do that kind of stuff anymore, because that's not good. I don't need to be creating that experience anymore. I need to be careful what I say. And growing up as I did, it was like, God must have been listening. Because at that point in my awareness that, God was like, you're going to act out, I'll give you something to act out about. So another situation of the road being paved with good intentions. It wasn't necessarily a good intention, but I was powerful in my creative abilities. That's the piece, I think, where we sometimes forget. Really, and in all truth, all of our thoughts are some sort of an intention or an affirmation. All of our thoughts are creative thoughts, but it depends what we put with it. There's that formula. Are we making the formula? Are we putting together some kind of an energetic fuel to it, an emotional fuel to it? And then are we doing anything that brings it about? I've had a lot of folks through my lifetime talk to me about how they want this or that to be in their lives. I was speaking a few minutes ago about somebody who wanted to have a relationship. There were things they could do. Yes, they could put themselves out there. They could meet people. But even beyond that, if I want something new in my life, is there room in my life for it? Have I created a space? Have I cleared out anything that's not like that so that I may then begin the process of creating, of calling that in? So one of the things I used to advise people is, so tell me something. You want a relationship? Are you wanting a true, live together, romantic relationship, like a coupleship? Well, yeah, okay. So tell me, in your home, where would that person live? Well, I would clear out some stuff out of a closet. Well, why would you do it then and not do it now? If you do it now, you're telling the universe that you're ready. You're telling God, whatever name you call this beautiful divine being that we are, or essence that we are part of, or that we are an expression. And so I had several, and we would talk about it. And I had one lady, she went home and she cleaned out a closet, or cleaned out half of the closet in her bedroom. She cleaned out some drawers in the dresser. She was preparing. We see nature do that. We see mother birds that whenever they have eggs in them that they're ready to lay, they begin to nest. They begin to prepare a space for that which is coming, because they know they are creating a new life. as we want to go through our life. We have the intention, we have the idea, we have the desire, we have the emotion. But our actions so many times miss the mark. This woman, she created all this space. She began to, cook for two. Yeah, granted, she had leftovers, but that was okay. She made sure there was, like I said, there was space in the bathroom, in the medicine cabinet. There was space in her closet. There was space in the dresser. This went on for probably about 6 months. And she comes into service one Sunday, and she goes, "I need to talk to you." I'm like, okay. So we went over to the side, and she said, "I've met somebody." And I said, "You have? This is great. This is exciting." And I said, "So how is it going?" She goes, "It's going great." And she goes, "And I really think it's because I cleaned out my closet." I'm like, okay. It's little actions. We don't have to do huge, grandiose things in order to let the universe know that, hey, we are in action around the divine order. We have ordered this up with our intention. We are continuing to confirm our order with our emotions. And yes, we are also now in action to bring it about. And so as we do that, divine order unfolds. It's not Santa God sitting on a cloud somewhere going, "Oh, they want this, poof, they've got it." No, that's not what divine order is. Divine order is us working in harmony with universal energies and universal laws and being very clear and precise as to what our heart desires, so that then the universe can go, "Yeah, absolutely." What I've discovered is the universe never says no. It's always yes. Where the confusion comes in is what we're asking, or what we're holding, or what we're intending, or the energy that we're holding, the container that we're creating. And so I invite you to be in alignment with your desires, with your intentions, to be in alignment with your emotions, your feelings, and to be in action. I love our teaching and the 5 principles about. The one that I love the most is basically it's where the rubber meets the road. Yes, our thoughts and our prayers are important. Yes, all of these are important. But the piece is we have to be in action. We have to be taking those steps. Because if we don't take those actions and don't take those steps, it's like walking a kid through a toy store and they start pointing at everything on every shelf. "I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. Oh, did you see that? I want one of those too." And as soon as you get out the door, they've forgotten about most of it. But it was they saw that bright, shiny object, and in that moment they wanted it. And they had a desire, but they never really engaged. And so are we children walking around on this planet in these earthly bodies, not truly engaging in the desires of our heart? Intentions and affirmations are amazing. And denials as well, because denials, that's the part about cleaning out the space. When we're doing a denial, we're cleaning out the space, we're preparing for that intention or that affirmation that we are holding. And so, please, be intentional with your intentions. Be conscious of your emotions and the feelings that you are encasing that in. And then take some steps. Be in action. Be in action of being a wonderful, loving expression of the divine. And as we do things like that, as we create in our spiritual world as well as in our physical world, we have the opportunities to be on that road that we're paving that takes us into that beautiful state of heaven consciousness. And so with this, I say thank you for sharing this time with me. Thank you for being present in this ministry. And I bid you love, peace, joy, and harmony. And may these fill your days, today and always. Namaste.